Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with the least important recording projects ever. This is the counterpart to the most important recording projects ever. And the fact that I call them least important does not mean that they aren't worthy. In fact, these may be the projects that hardcore, nutty collectors like myself and many of you really hanker after, the things we really want, the things we thought would never see the light of day. But due to the insanity that is the classical music record business, where economics is a secondary consideration and radio broadcast orchestras and small labels can get their hands on all kinds of stuff that nobody dreamed possible, and everybody was desperate to find tonal or somehow approachable music that had never been recorded before by people you might or might not have heard of. I mean, all of this activity generated fabulous, complete series of stuff nobody cares about. And whether the universe cares is irrelevant because we care, right? So I take the title of this series with a grain of salt. This is definitely music that is not important. That doesn't mean it isn't enjoyable and not worth listening to. And it gives me an opportunity to talk about boxes and boxes and boxes of stuff that would otherwise go completely under the get swept under the rug. You know, it would never see the light of day. But it deserves to. Why? Because nobody cares. And we do. So, the very first installment in the least important recordings ever, big projects, is this one on CPO, the complete Siegfried Wagner orchestral works. Who? Siegfried who? Yes, this is the son of Wagner. He was a hopeless failure at everything he did, just about. First of all, he didn't really care about his dad particularly. He was the coddled son of the great Meister, and as a result of that, his life was miserable. I mean, he grew up completely under his father's shadow. He was gay. He had to marry a horrible woman who was a vicious anti-Semite. I mean, it was just his life was sad, and he was completely under the thumb of his hideously oppressive, proto-Nazi mother, Cosima. I mean, his wife, Winifred, these terrible women who oppressed the poor man, they really were awful. And he's got quite a series of orchestral works. Most of them are preludes and interludes from these grandiose post-Wagnerian operas he wrote that nobody cares about, that were all hopeless failures, not a single one of which made it into the repertoire, because he just wasn't that kind of composer at all. I mean, it's really amazing. So let's see what's in here, shall we? I mean, it's really kind of fun just to look at it and think about just how much orchestral music he wrote that only really crazy people like me and many of you would actually give 30 seconds thought to. So here we go. Siegfried. What were his dates? His dates were 1869 to 1930. There you go. He didn't have a terribly long life. You just feel for the man. You really do. So first, okay, complete overtures. This is in 4 volumes, and some of these overtures are quite hefty. We get Herzog Wildfung. There's a catchy piece I'll bet you go to sleep dreaming about. And Der Friedensengel, and Der Schmied von Marienburg. In German operas that no one cares about, you've always got a Schmied. It's a smith. There's, blacksmith. There's a Schmied everywhere. There's a Schmied. And Die Heilige Linde, well, that's about a holy tree. Yes. Complete Overtures, Volume 2. An allem ist Hütchen schuld. Okay. The prelude is 17 minutes and 34 seconds of music that's completely forgettable. Then there's a waltz and a forest scene, like forest murmurs, get it? And then we've got Das Flüchlein, das jeder mitbekam, the prelude. Oh my God. Can you imagine coming home saying, oh, I had a hard day at the office. keep dinner warm. I have to listen to the prelude to Das Flüchlein, das jeder mitbekommt. Yeah, right. Okay. Then we've got Der Bärenhäuter. Now, this is actually sort of kind of known. The complete opera's been recorded. Someone's heard of it. I mean, a little bit. Volume 3. Let's see. There's the shorter version of Herzog Wildfang Opus 2. Well, what was this one? Herzog Wildfang 12-minute version. And then there's his Opus 2 Little Prelude, which is the 5-minute version. Then we've got Bruder Lustig. This is a bunch of things, pieces, prelude and other orchestral work. And then Bana Dietrich. It's a Bana Dietrich. Who knows? Oh, this one looks like fun. Schwarzschwanenreich. The Black Swan Kingdoms. Schwarzschwanenreich. And finally, Von Opfer. You get those thingies. And then we get, let's see, complete overtures and introductions and, like I said, interludes and things. We've got Sternengebot, Opus 5. Let's see, we've got the introduction to Act 3 and Huldigungsreigen, the homage round. Yeah, okay, we really need to hear that. Sonnenflammen, sun flames things, right? And Heidenkönig, sorry about that. I thought it was Heroic King. It's not, it's Heidenkönig. Pagan King? I don't know, whatever that means. And then we have, let's see, oh yes, finally a normal Tristan and Isolde type title. Boy meets girl. The boy and girl in question are Reinulf und Adelasia. 16 fun-filled minutes of Reinulf und Adelasia. Now, these are all with the Staatsphilharmonie Rhineland-Pfalz, a decent enough German provincial orchestra, under Werner Andreas Albert, who never met a piece of unknown music he didn't want to conduct or wouldn't conduct. He was a wonderful, willing guy who gave really capable performances of just about everything he did. So that's really nifty. And CPO, I mean, they had the connections with let's see, who owned these originally, or where did they come from? Does it even say? CPO recording was in the recording supervisor. No, it doesn't say. These may have been original productions. They don't have a radio thing. Then we get the original version of the Symphony in C. Here it is, 46 fun-filled minutes of Siegfried Wagner's Symphony from 1925. Now, when he wrote a symphony, even though Wagner was theoretically planning one when he died, that was the rumor. But, Wagner famously said the symphony is dead in his pronunciations. And when Siegfried Wagner wrote a symphony, it so horrified the Wagner circle in which he lived that they suppressed it. I mean, what could be crueler and more stupid and depressing and egomaniacally insane than the way these people thought that the fact that he wrote a symphony was such a repudiation of everything his dad stood for that it could not be acknowledged to exist. Huh? That's why this is the least important music ever. So the Symphony in C original version, and then the later version of the second movement is also here. It's 3 minutes shorter, probably all to the good. And then we have an eclogue after Liszt's, Années de Pèlerinage. It's sort of a little 2.5 minute orchestration. And then we have symphonic poems. Yes, he wrote symphonic poems. Sehnsucht, after Schiller, longing. 20 minutes of longing. By 15 minutes, you've longed yourself out, I think, practically. Then we've got a thing called Scherzo, und wenn die Welt voll Teufel wär. Oh, when the world went to hell. Sort of, kind of. So that's 10 minutes and 10 seconds. And then something called Glück. Glück. Feel Glück. Good luck. Happiness, luck, things like that. And we've got all kinds of Glück things. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 movements or so. So that's exciting. And then the last disc is all the other stuff. We have a concerto for violin with orchestral accompaniment that nobody cares about or ever plays. And then Der Kobold, Opus 3, Prelude to Act 3. And he wrote a concertino for flute and small orchestra. Very charmant, only 10 minutes long. And Die Heilige Linde, the Prelude to Act 2, which is only 1 minute and 56 seconds long, but you wouldn't want to leave it out, would you? Because, we're counting every single second of this stuff. And finally, oh my God, 8 minutes of something called Das Märchen vom dicken, fetten Pfannkuchen. There's no point even trying to translate that. The tale of the fat something, some thick fat Pfannkuchen cake something. Oh, good Lord, who knows? So there we have it. The complete Siegfried Wagner orchestral works. An absolutely non-essential box. Something that might be last on the list of significant works you want to collect. But the point is that you can collect them. And it is just so wonderful that we can. I mean, there are lots of unknown repertoire boxes, a lot of them on CPO, this absolutely fabulous label, but not all of them reach this level of total insignificance so as to warrant serious collector's notice. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me. Take care.